What do you think it is that makes it feel compelling to poke around at that problem in a sort of explanatory manner? See this? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I really don't like it. It's not enough to just say, no thanks. No, thank you. I'm not the only one who doesn't like it. We hear you say. Nobody really likes that. We shouldn't have to put up with it. We just shouldn't. I'm going to get online. I'll bet there's others feel the same way. Yep. It's a movement. I'm going to join the war against. There's a war against drugs and a war against poverty and a war against teenage pregnancy and a war against poverty and a war against drugs and a war against teenage pregnancy and a war against cancer and a war against drugs and a war against teenage pregnancy and a war against and a war against and a war against and a war against, and they're all getting bigger because the more you look at something, the more law of attraction says, oh, here's more, here's more, here's more, here's more. So we want you to realize that while it is of value for you to know what you don't want, while it is helpful to know what you don't want, while solutions are born out of defining the problem, the more you define the problem, the more you define the solution. We just want to be very clear that while you're still defining the problem, you cannot catch a vibrational glimpse of the solution. And law of attraction is responding to you where you are offering your vibration. And there are a lot of people who think that just by saying positive words or by saying it in a positive way, that's enough, that law of attraction should now take them at their word. And we say, law of attraction does not take you at your word. Law of attraction takes you at your vibration. And the only way you really know what your vibration is by the way you're feeling. So you have two indications of whether you're leaning away from who you really are and what you want, or toward who you really are and what you really want. The first evidenced is the way you feel, your emotions. But many of you have become so determined and strong and valiant and vigilant and hardy and determined that you can withstand a whopping amount of negative emotion. Those who were here when you got here sort of trained you that way. Quit your crying. Quit your crying, they said. Keep a stiff upper lip. The world doesn't revolve around you. It really does. It really does. Your world exactly revolves around you. And if you're keeping a stiff upper lip in the face of something unwanted and not doing anything about changing your focus until the tension goes away, you cannot be a vibrational match to the solution. That's what that tension that you feel is. That's your indication that you're not in the vicinity of who you really are and what you really want. You were source energy before you came into these bodies. Do you know that? You don't remember it. Do you know that? You don't remember it. Do you know that? You sort of have to take our word for it, but do you know that? You don't remember that. You were source energy. You don't remember that because you came forth wanting new exposure to new experience, but you don't remember what was before you were in this physical body. But you don't have to remember that because the larger part of you is still there, and that larger part of you is still emanating strong signals to you, so you don't have to remember it, you can feel it. You can feel the vibration of who you came from, but better stated, who you have become. Because as you came forth from this source energy, a part of your consciousness, into this physical body, as you explore here, knowing what you don't want and therefore knowing what you do want, every time you emanate that rocket of preference, the inner being part of you becomes it, absorbs it, amends who you are, becomes the fuller version of who you are as a result of this most recent exposure to life. So you can tell all day, every day, in every moment that you are conscious or awake or aware. You can tell whether you are vibrationally in the vicinity of who you are. You feel contentment, satisfaction, ease and flow, love and passion, exhilaration. In other words, you feel fabulous when you're tuned in to the energy of who you really are. And the less close to that frequency you are, the worse you feel. The more you feel frustration or lethargy or anger or fear or depression. In other words, the emotional guidance scale really indicates one thing and one thing only, but it's a big thing. It indicates your relationship with who you really are. Now, many people, at first, when they hear us say that, think, I don't know, Abraham, I've always pretty much known who I am, and I'm in this body. I was little, now I'm big. I was young, and now I'm older, but I pretty much know, I think, who I am. We say, not even close. Most humans have no real sense of who you are. You don't know your power. You don't know your wisdom. You don't know your clarity. You don't know your stamina. You don't know your love. You don't know your worthiness. You are allowing but a scanty little part of yourself because you're fixated on problems and using those problems as your predominant point of focus. Most people offer most of their vibration, which, it's so important because your vibration equals your point of attraction. What you're putting out is what you're getting back. Most people offer the majority of their vibrational output because of something that they are observing. But they're not very particular about what they observe. Do you ever watch television? If you do, you are bombarded by unwanted stuff. And it comes at you much faster than you can sort, sift, decide, and pivot. Much faster, much faster. So you just hear it and 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 hear it. Hear it and respond, hear it and respond, hear it and respond, hear it and respond, hear it, respond, hear it, respond. And you let that television train your frequency into unwanted territory, and then you wonder why the things that are in your vortex, the things you really want, don't come to you in the way we profess that they should come. What's wrong with me, you say? We say nothing in the world is wrong with you, but you sometimes let unwanted things do the majority of training you into a frequency that then you say, well, I'm tough. I've got a stiff upper lip. I'm determined. I can play full on. I can make it happen. I will make myself financially prosperous. I will bring myself into alignment with what I want. And we say, really, friends, you cannot force it. You have to feel it into place. You have to allow it. You have to surrender the resistance in order to allow who you really are to be. So, as you stand in your physical body and you're aware of the buffet that's before you, some things you can look right at and know you prefer them, and some things you can look at and know that you would like it to be better. And have you noticed that if you let yourself believe in your own or global or mass consciousness, personal or bigger expansion, that you cannot stop for a moment thinking of what would be better? Esther's been in the new kitchen in Texas, and most things that are in most cupboards have not been there very long, because she keeps finding a better place for everything. Anyone who's trying to find something that was there yesterday is in trouble, because today it's in a new and improved place for a while. In other words, she'll find the place that works perfectly in time, but it's very funny to her that there are so many places for improvement no matter how good something is. You never run out of the desire to expand because you are eternal beings. So this expansion is contained, and that's not an accurate word because it's fluid and flowing, but it is held. That's not really the right word either because it's fluid and flowing, but it's gathered is a better word. It's amassed is a better word in what we're depicting as a vibrational vortex. And the reason we call it a vortex is because in this attraction power, there's this constant gathering of things that match this desire. We call those the cooperative components. The cooperative components to what you are asking for. Well, vibrationally speaking, that's sort of boring, Abraham, because I can't see that stuff amassing. I trust you sort of, but I can't see it, so it's conceptual. It's a theory. Feels a little like fairy dust all over it. I get the idea of it. I believe that vibration precedes everything, but to ask me to believe in a vortex that I can't see, when there's all this manifestation that I can see, oh, Abraham, manifestation is more compelling because we can gather together in groups. We can agree on what we see. We can take tests about it. We can accurately acknowledge what it is. Manifestation is meaty. It's seeable, hearable, smellable, tasteable, touchable. It's reality. Abraham, manifestation is reality. We hear you. You talk to us all the time, and quite often you're annoyed. And we say, it is reality, but it's reality that has spawned and accrued and accumulated and come into your visual, sensual senses because it is a vibrational match to something that you've got chronically going on. And you have to know that, because as you move around the planet and you interact with people, you see people living in similar circumstances that are manifesting entirely differently. You see people who everything seems to always go wrong for them, and you see people who everything seems to always go right for them. And you just got to know there's a vibrational variance that makes the difference in what's happening to you, not just generally, but specifically moment by moment. So what we're getting at is you could be observing something that isn't something that you want. And as you're observing it, you're taking it in, you're having conversations about it. And in doing so, you're holding your vibration in an even more specific place. Because the more attention you give to anything, the more specifically focused you are. And the more specifically focused you are, the faster the energy moves and the faster the manifestation becomes. So you could be looking at this thing, and let's call it, for sake of this analogy, something unwanted. And this is the point we want to make with you. Without even realizing it, your observation of your current financial condition or your physical condition or your relationship condition or whatever it is that you're focusing upon, your attention to it is causing a vibrational response in you which equals your point of attraction. Now, your point of attraction isn't something that's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or the next day. Your point of attraction is something that's manifesting now. So much so that this thought and this conversation that you've got going on is going to cause the next people who walk into your experience to reflect back to you precisely what it is you've got going on. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how close on the heels of what you're feeling, especially if you're feeling it strongly, the manifestation follows. And then the real fun is to recognize, either because the feeling didn't feel good or because the manifestation doesn't feel good. Maybe somebody says something to you that you didn't like, that you didn't think they should have said, that you didn't really believe you had coming, and that most of all you don't ever want to hear it again. But you're hearing it, it's happening. And why is it happening? Is it happening because reality has descended on you? Or is it happening in response to a vibrational stance that you've been practicing that you maybe didn't even know you were practicing until it manifested? But here it is. Reality happens. We've seen the bumper stickers. We like this one better. Reality happens. So then you say, we want you to say, oh, but I get this stuff. I know that I'm the creator of my own experience. I'm not a regurgitator. I observed that, and I had a regurgitating knee-jerk response to it, which I kept practicing because it was really absurd and obscene what happened. And so I told everybody that I saw for a while, do you know what that guy said? Do you know what he said? Do you know what he said? Do you know what he did? Do you know how he made me feel? So you keep it going for a little while, but in all of that, launching, clarifying, vortexing, creating, doing the vibrational precursoring, it's not a word, but write it down anyway, to what future manifestations can be depending upon what you do vibrationally. In other words, you've launched the rockets, the potential is there for the new